I think what's missing is really an understanding of how the body works and how our brain works and how our mind works, because we are not machines. And even machines, they have their capacity.
Yeah.
And we have our capacity as well. And I think what is really missing is an understanding of what our body has been made for and how we're using it right now. Because there is this thing that I'm so passionate about and talking about and really simplifying it to a level where it's not more, it's no more really scientific, but it's so easy to understand then. We have a nervous system that has been created to prevent us from danger. We're always stressed out. It starts in the morning when we have our bell ringing, our and to get up. Then we are stressed because there is traffic in the road. Then we come late to the office. The next meeting is already starting. Maybe we don't have it prepared everything for it. And it goes on and on and on and on. And so this stress level is always very high, but that stress level is a situation that our body has been prepared for to run away in an exceptional situation.
And today, managers are juggling between performance demand and their own well being and the well being of their teams.
Yeah. I think first of all, it's important to make a break a few times a day. And it doesn't have to be long. It can be a few seconds. It can be half a minute, a
Okay.
minute. That already helps the body to calm down and for our brain to reset. So this is the first thing. Allow your team to take a small break. Allow yourself to take a small break.
You are an expert in Neurographica.
The idea behind is that when we have a conversation, when we have a conversation with a coach or a therapist, we need to be conscious of what we want to say. Otherwise, we can't talk about it. If you're drawing, things appear on paper without you being conscious about it. So what I see first is that which is unusual without any further instruction, which is showing that you have really a sense of the space, is that you have filled up the space with your circles.
Be Your Brand Podcast. Suggerimenti e strategie per il vostro mindset e il vostro personal brand. Chi vi parla è Loris Bianchini.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Be Your Brand podcast. Today is a special episode because I have the pleasure and the honor to host a great professional, a great coach, and a great teacher and speaker as well, Christine Schickinger from Munich. Hello, Christine, and welcome to the Be Your Brand podcast.
Hi, Loris. Thank you very much. Grazie mille per avermi qua.
Oh, okay, thank you for the Italian words. It's really a pleasure that you accepted my invitation, Christine. And it's also a honor because you are a great professional. And we met during COVID because we were both members of the Thought Leaders Mentorship Program by Owen Fitzpatrick. And we had the chance to share several coaching sessions, trainings, but above all, also insights about business and insights about our podcast as well. So Christine invited me several months ago to her podcast. That is amazing. And I had the chance to invite her as well to my podcast. Just a few words, a short introduction about Christine's background, because it's very important to know her expertise in several areas. Christine comes from the corporate world. She's been for almost 20 years, more than 19 years, in various roles, covering various roles at Gartner. And she was also a vice president for end user programs, so a very important role inside that organization. But she is also a lecturer in the EU Business School in Munich. And now she's also executive coach, leadership mentor, trainer, and speaker. So a lot of stuff, a lot of great expertise that Christine brings with her here. And today we want to talk about several insights that Christine can have for our audience regarding leadership, stress management, and balance, clarity, all those things that are very interesting for leaders. And I will start. I would like to start from your journey because you are coming from the corporate world. And then you decided to move to the leadership and coaching mentorship programs and supporting leaders and managers of various realities. So, my question is what inspired you to transition from the corporate to the coaching world?
Wow. Yeah. Thank you, first of all, for that introduction. It makes me feel really important. I'm not sure I'm that important,
You
but
are, you
you.
are.
Okay. So, what inspired me? I mean, I loved my job at Gartner because it's a fantastic company and the people there were really great. However, and I'm losing my voice here, I had yeah, I was very, very powerful. I was very engaged. I had a global role, so I traveled the world a lot. And yeah, I got burned out in 2015.
Hmm.
And this was in spite of having a really good understanding of the human body, because I had gone through a certification program to become an alternative healer or an alternative naturopath, as they call them here. And even that had not prevented me from going through burnouts. And this was in 2015. And that really made me think. So, first of all, I thought, okay, I need to change something in my approach to work. I need to make sure that whatever I do is more sustainable.
Mhm.
And I also decided I didn't want to work 24/7 anymore. And I wanted to cut down my work. And it looks like, or it turned out that this was not fitting well into the company culture, which now, of course, I'm really grateful for because I always said, whenever someone asked me, what will you do after working for Gartner? I always said, I want to become a coach.
Hmm.
Because even in Gartner, there were so many people who were asking me, well, Christine, this is my role now. What do you think I should do going forward? How can I develop? What should I do next? Oh, Christine, I'm so worn out. What can I do? And so based on everything I learned in this medical school and also in the mindfulness practices that I already did when I was in Gartner, when I was in corporate, I thought, okay, there must be a way that we can be successful, but on an ongoing basis. Like be successful, but with sustainable success.
Mhm.
And the more I looked into this and the more I learned about how to do that, the more I wanted to actually share that with others and help others to prevent them from going through a burnout experience because it's not that nice. So that's
Yeah,
it. That was my motivation.
I can imagine. Yeah, interesting. This experience, you indeed were already coaching your colleagues and your when you were in the corporate world.
Mm.
And considering your experience in the corporate world, today's stress levels have significantly increased. And I have seen some attempts to introduce in the corporations and companies some roles like the happiness coaches, something like that. But it doesn't seem to me that it's really taking off as initiative. So From your experience, what is still missing in the corporate world, um, culturally and also from the mindset, in order to get people achieving results, but at the same time get them living in a very, let me say, balanced way and living well, despite the fact that they need to perform.
Mm. I think what's missing is really an understanding of how the body works and how our brain works and how our mind works, because we are not machines. And even machines, they have their capacity.
Yeah,
And we have our capacity as well. And I think what is really missing is an understanding of what our body has been made for and how we're using it right now. Because there is this thing that I'm so passionate about and talking about, and really simplifying it to a level where it's not more, it's no more really scientific, but it's so easy to understand. Then we have a nervous system that has been created to prevent us from danger.
mhm,
So when we were created as people, the way we lived is we were living in a small group, and then sometimes there was this tiger coming around the corner,
yeah,
and we needed to make sure that we were not eaten. So we could either run away if that was the option, or we needed to defend ourselves. But that tiger came around maybe once a week. And then there was, I don't know, a hyena, whatever, coming around the corner on
mhm,
another day. But this stress that this caused happened only a few times a day. And then the tiger was gone. We could relax again. We could go back to the fire and have our conversation, or go out and collect some fruits.
yeah,
Nowadays, the tiger comes around constantly. There is always a tiger in the room. We're always stressed out. It starts in the morning when we have our bell ringing, our and to get up. Then we are stressed because there is traffic in the road. Then we come late to the office. The next meeting is already starting. Maybe we don't have prepared everything for it. And it goes on and on and on and on. And so this stress level is always very high, but that stress level is a situation that our body has been prepared for to run away in an exceptional situation. Because when we are stressed out, there are body functions that are no longer active
yeah,
as they need to be. And that is our whole digestion is really not taken care of if we're stressed out. And if you have a manager, if you have someone working in a corporate environment that is always, who is always stressed out, of course, I don't wonder that they have issues with their stomach, with their digestion. They can't sleep. It's normal
yeah,
because that's how the body reacts. And I think this understanding, having this understanding first, that we need to give our bodies a break. And going for a run in the evening is not the break that we need, because that's also not giving us the rest, the relaxation that we need. And this is what I think is needed. And then to understand that it doesn't help if I go on a holiday for 2 weeks and then I come back into the same frenzy. I need to find a way to have little breaks throughout the day to make sure my body gets into the normal state. It's not the rest and digest state as it's called. That's the normal state. That is the state that our body is made for. And we need to make sure that we give it that opportunity to actually do its work, to make us, yeah, productive in the long run.
yeah. Yeah, it's true. Also because the body response today is similar to the response that in the past we had against a tiger. So your blood pressure and your muscles, everything. So nothing changed. The fight and flight response is always the same, but we are in a corporate environment, we are in the office, we are in the car. So, but we are not fighting. So we are not, let me say, using that energy that we are accumulating in our bodies. So it's really amazing what's happening. And today managers are juggling between performance demand and their own well-being and the well-being of their teams. Um, is there any key shift that leaders today can make in order to balance, let me say, overwhelm with a sustainable life, especially also for the teams that they are leading? There is something that they can do, even if, let me say, at corporate level, there is not this kind of culture. Some suggestions that you can share with them.
Yeah. I think first of all, it's important to make a break a few times a day. And it doesn't have to be long. It can be a few seconds. It can be half a minute, a
Okay.
minute. That already helps the body to calm down and for our brain to reset. So this is the first thing. Allow your team to take a small break. Allow yourself to take a small break. And then I think the other thing that's so important and that leaders can actually create in their environment is what we call now psychological safety.
Yeah.
So create an environment where everyone feels safe enough to share their opinions, to also criticize things that seem to go wrong, and to be open about it, and to have an impact. Because working along without having an impact, that's really one thing that is a really straight way into burnout. So making sure that everyone has an impact, that they are seen, to recognize them, to give them feedback. It doesn't have to be, oh, you're the best person in the world every day,
Yeah.
but really provide very specific feedback so that your team understands that you as a manager notices what's going on. I think that's also so important.
Yeah. Great suggestions, especially the safety. To feel
Hmm.
safe is a great thing, in my opinion, to make people feel really well, even if they are in trouble, or even if they have problems, because we all have problems in a corporate environment and in our lives.
Yeah.
And
And can I add something in
yeah,
there because
sure.
I have a personal experience with that. I mean, as you said, I have quite a bit of an experience, and I started working in an environment where I was hired because of my background and my knowledge and my skills. And I came into a situation where another team member, she was jealous of me.
Mhm.
And she started to criticize me. And she started to criticize me in front of my manager. She started to create situations for me where I had to make mistakes because I didn't know better.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because usually I'm pretty self-assured. So usually my self-confidence is pretty high. It only took a few days and my confidence level was extremely low.
Mm.
And I was making mistakes because I was so insecure
Yeah.
that I could no longer really produce and I could no longer be my best self. And this to me shows how easy it is to make someone else unsure.
Yeah.
And this is really something that I also when I talk to clients, when I talk to people, I always have in mind there can be situations where they really turn into a mess.
Yes.
And it's much easier than we think, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, let me say, interesting. Also, the the change that you can have, even if you are self-confidence sometimes, because especially because you want to perform well, you want to show that you are valuable in a corporate environment, and you can fall into this trap, let me say, of losing your self-confidence.
Yeah.
And I dig into your several expertise, and I have seen that you have a strong connection with animals,
Mm.
especially with your Maggie. Okay, is the right name? And you are an expert of the trust technique. The trust technique is a way to manage the pressure of daily life through the bond that we can share with animals. And so, through the trust technique, you can help people, managers, individuals to reconnect with themselves, and at the same time to have a better, let me say, situation, better feeling, better relationship with their pets, and a better well-being. So there is let me say, an important connection between
Mm.
animals and their well-being. Can you tell us more about this technique and how it works, and the principles behind?
Okay, sure. So the idea is that feelings are contagious. So we share feelings.
Yeah.
So you can recognize that when you walk into a room, you probably immediately have an idea of what was going on in that room before.
Yes.
And we as people have that between us people. And now think about animals. They're even more perceptive of those energies. So we share feelings with our energies. Now, we just talked about us in the corporate world being overwhelmed, overworked,
Mhm.
always stressed out. Now, knowing that we share feelings with our animals, imagine what that does to our animals.
Yeah.
No wonder dogs are barking and getting aggressive. No wonder horses are spooking and running and whatever. So this is where this whole method, this whole technique, as it's called, kicks in. And it also kicks in on a different level, also because nowadays we understand that animals are sentient beings as well. They have opinions. They are grown-up beings. And we want to make sure that we listen to them. And with the trust technique, what we do is we learn a method that is really, really simple
Hmm.
to what we call get present.
Okay.
So be here and now. And when we are in the here and now, our thoughts start to slow down.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, when you're thinking, you usually think about the past or the present or somewhere else. And we're no longer really here. Actually, that's what happened with me when I went into my burnout phase. I was always feeling I was on the wrong place in the wrong time. So I never really was experiencing my life anymore. And this is what we learn through the trust technique. And we learn that in combination with our animals because we share feelings. And when we get present, this is such a powerful feeling of peace, inner calm.
And
And
they feel this inner peace that you have.
exactly. And they can calm down.
Hmm.
And so this helps with all sorts of behavioral problems. And the interesting thing, of course, is that exact same thing happens when I am calm inside and I have an employee who is kind of very excited, or even my kids.
Yeah.
So this is a technique that teaches us to be calm enough to listen. I think that's the way I would describe it.
Yeah. Great. I should try. I should try this technique. It's kind of connected also to mindfulness, sort of.
It is a mindfulness practice with your animal. Yes.
Great. And another area that grabbed my attention, because I've seen your posts with the drawings, and I was, let me say, watching and trying to understand. You are an expert in Neurographica,
Hmm.
and also Neurographica is a creative and therapeutic drawing technique
Hmm.
that let managers and leaders, let me say, to calm down, avoid the stress, especially when they are not able to shut off the mind.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about Neurographica? Because it's really interesting what I have seen in your pictures and your drawings.
Mm. Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm not at my Munich home because you would see Neurographica
Yeah. I know
behind me.
that you have
Yeah,
the
unfortunately,
background.
I'm not
Yeah,
there today.
yeah.
So let me describe what it is, and people can look up Neurographica or Neurographics. The idea behind is that when we when we have a conversation with a coach or a therapist, we need to be conscious of what we want to say. Otherwise, we can't talk about it. If you're drawing, things appear on paper without you being conscious about it. And so Neurographica always is drawing about a specific topic, maybe a conflict you're having at work, or a vision you have, or a goal you want to work towards. And you put that on paper. And while you're drawing, there are things showing up on paper that you were not even aware of. So for example, when we're drawing a goal, we also draw a tree-like drawing. And it can be that the trunk of the tree is really small and the top of the tree is really big. So the question is, how can this small trunk sustain such a big crown?
Mhm.
And that's then an opportunity to think about your topic, all the different questions related to this topic. And what's even better is that you can then say, well, okay, let me make the trunk bigger. And then it can sustain this future
Yeah.
that you're working towards. So I can diagnose what's on the paper, but I don't have to live with it. I can change it immediately and model the future that I want to have, that I want to see. And because I'm seeing it on paper, my brain says, oh, that's already reality. And this is why it's so much easier to then reach that dream state.
Is it kind of method to, um, let me say, to dig into the irrational part of our mind? So, drawing, we are not, let me say, rational. So,
Mhm.
we are more open to, let me say, pull out everything we have in our, let me say, deep down
Mhm.
inside us.
Exactly. It's a method to bring up the subconscious to the
Okay.
surface and then become conscious of it.
It's like, let me say, the Lego Serious Play program. I don't know if you've never seen.
No,
Uh,
I haven't seen
you,
that.
you you can build with the Lego pieces. Let me say, you can build something, and so you create something that you have in your mind, but that you are not able to express verbally sometimes, or think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably similar. And yeah, and why don't we do a little exercise? I think
It was my curiosity to ask you if we can have an exercise also
yeah.
for our audience if they want
Hmm.
to try. I like to try.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will not share my screen, or will not share what I'm doing here because I
Okay.
want to create an opportunity for you to experience it without being driven by what I'm
Okay.
doing. So what we're doing now is not 100% Neurographica, but it will give you the idea of what can happen when drawing. And so what we will be drawing is circles.
Okay.
Just grab a pen, the one that you have in front of you or already in your hand, and then start and pick a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then start drawing circles. Just draw circles.
Randomly, I mean.
And that is exactly. So I'm not giving you any more instructions than drawing circles. And observe which direction you're drawing in. Is it clockwise or is it counterclockwise? And if it's counterclockwise, then try to draw the other way around. And feel how that feels. Sometimes I'm told that at the beginning it's really awkward, and then when you're doing it a few times, it becomes even nicer and easier than the original way. Can also observe how often are you going around in circles when drawing the circle? Are you just drawing one little line and closing it down, or are you drawing several lines across the same circle? And I encourage you to also experiment with that. So go around several times. You can even change your drawing hand. Pick the pen in the other, take the pen in the other hand and try to draw a circle there. And at the beginning, it will feel really awkward, but then by drawing several circles, maybe your hand gets used to it. And again, you have two different directions to draw them.
Okay. I'm
And
not very good at drawing.
then let's look at the result, because that already can be really
I
interesting.
was drawing clockwise, and then you
Uh-huh.
said change the direction.
Yeah.
It seems strange to me.
Mhm.
It was difficult to me, and this is what I got.
Wow, this is interesting. Now let's look at that and let me give you some feedback on it. So what I see first is that which is unusual without any further instruction, which is showing that you have really a sense of the space, is that you have filled up the space with your circles. That's one thing. And again, I could ask the question, if I was in a coaching situation, I would ask you the question, well, how does that relate to your life? Do you have a tendency to fill up every little space that you have, to fill up your time with a lot of things? Because there are a lot of circles on there. The other thing, what I'm seeing is that you started off with drawing just once around, which is wonderful, but then you started to create several circles. And that, if you want to draw, if you want to spend time thinking about something, you want to spend more time on it. So that's why we're drawing the circles in and going around several times.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I'm seeing is that there is a variance in the size of your circles. However, the variance is limited. So there are a lot of circles that are the same size.
Yeah.
And then there are a lot of other circles that are the same size, but just bigger.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of a variation, but not that much.
Okay.
And none of the circles get out of the drawing. So when we look at my drawing, for example, you can see, I have to take out the blurring. What you can see on my circles, there are some that didn't fit on paper.
Okay.
Because they're just too big to fit on paper. So if without any instructions, that could have happened. And the usual the something that a lot of people do without any further instructions, by the way, is that they put the circles neatly next to each other.
Hmm.
And again, that already tells me how they're organizing their life.
Hmm.
Have little to no overlap. And now, in a neurographica way, what we would
Amazing.
then start doing, and let me do it. It's in some places here. In Neurographica, what we start doing is, because we want to have our lives really in a very harmonious shape. We want to have harmonious lives. We want to no, we don't want to have a lot of conflict in our lives. And so a Neurographica way of continuing the work on this drawing would be that I would create a rounding wherever the circle crosses, so that I
Uh-huh.
don't no longer have these crossings, these sharp edges, but
Okay.
I would have roundings. And so this is the idea of Neurographica, to get away with conflict, with sharp aggression, by rounding off everything that's on paper, and that gives this pattern that is really typical for Neurographica. So that's
That's incredible. And you told me things that made me think and will
mm,
make me think again.
mm,
So thank you very much for this experience. It's really great. And I hope that we, let me say, made also some curiosity inside the mind of our audience as well. Um, I want to talk about your podcast. That it's quite it is quite successful. You have thousands of followers, and you have thousands of views and so on. So you started this podcast that is called Lead Well, and you are sharing several topics about leadership, feeling well, and how to treat our body, and also branding as well, that we had the chance to discuss. And so, what's your vision about your podcast, and what's the aim of what you are putting on the air for people, for leaders, for managers, for everyone that want to listen to you?
mm. Thank you for asking. And yes, my podcast is my pet peeve, so I spend a lot of time on that.
Yeah, I know. You
Yes,
are
and
very, very consistently publishing every week. You are very constant in your let me say practice. So
yeah.
my congratulations for that.
Thank you. And I think I feel I have so much to share, because I have so much, I learned so much in my life. Now I'm almost 60 now, so I have a lot of time to talk about. And I learned several things that are so easy, and or should I say so simple when you understand them, like the autonomic nervous system. So this stress fight or flight response versus the rest and digest response.
Yeah,
That once you understand that, it's so much easier to actually, yeah, understand how to lead a successful life and still be in balance. And that's my goal, to share as much as I can of what I learned, of what I know of, and all the great people that I've met, like you. So all
yeah,
of
yeah.
my guests are people that I've met through sometimes really interesting circumstances, and they are all great. And so this is my passion, really.
Yeah. It's really wonderful to have such a mission, let me say, of sharing your knowledge, your experience, and helping people change their lives as
Mm,
well. Because this is at the end what we can do with our, let me say, contents that we are publishing.
mm.
we could discuss for hours. There is the Neurographica that triggered my mind. I'm still thinking about that, so I will watch my draw. But we are going towards the closure, and I like to give you the space to share anything valuable, any insights that you think valuable for the audience, for managers, for leaders, in order to find balance, clarity, being, let me say, outstanding in their performance, but being also outstanding in leading well the teams that they are responsible of.
Mm. So instead of me talking, let me share one of what I call the micro resilience breaks. So those are the very small breaks that we can do every hour of our day to give our body and our mind a break. So if you have your pen, you still have your pen.
Yeah.
So hold it in front of you and just observe the pen as if you wanted to take a picture of it. Really very, very closely follow the size of the pen, the surface. Where is it straight? Where is it curved? Where do you have light falling on the pen? Where do you see shadow? Can also move it a bit and see how the light changes. Be as concentrated on your pen as if you wanted to scan it with your eyes. Catch every little detail of it. And this is one of the ways that you can slow down, take a little break every time you want it.
Amazing. I felt a sense of relax in my body.
Mm-hmm.
My belly was relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Christine, for this, let me say, secret of coming to balance again,
Mm.
to calm down. Great things, great things. We are closing this episode. I think that we, let me say, triggered this curiosity to the people that are listening. I hope that they can reach you to your podcast, Lead Well. I will leave all the information of your podcast, your contacts, your website, that is christine-schickinger.com, where people can find a lot of information. You are really an expert, and you have several areas that can be helpful for many people. And I think that your great insights today inspired a lot of people that are listening to us. Christine, I thank you very much for being part of the Be Your Brand podcast. It was an honor and really a pleasure to meet you again in my podcast. I wish you all the best for your podcast and your career and your, let me say, leadership coaching. And I'm sure that people will get a benefit from your support and your great experience. Thank you very much, Christine, again.
Thank you, Loris. It was great to be here. And thanks to all of your great work.
Thank you very much. And with this, I remember to the audience that we will wait for the next episode. And remember, be always your brand.
Hai ascoltato Be Your Brand Podcast. Condividilo con chi vuoi e iscriviti. E non dimenticare, be always your brand.